these are the drivers that we're watching out for today. Who chose Lundgaard?
I went with Lundgaard, and here's why. We are hearing that it's going to be a red tire race. Those Firestone alternates are going to be the preferred one. He has a little more red tire in his bank because of being 7th on the grid. He didn't have to use that extra new set in the Firestone Fast 6. So for me, 2 sets of sticker red, that's going to put him in a prime position to move forward.
And I chose Rosenqvist because starting 14th, that means he'll have 3 sets of brand new Firestone soft tires for the race. I agree with James. It's a red tire, a soft tire race. Rosenqvist in great shape starting from 14th with that fresh tires. Why'd you pick Louis Foster?
I picked Louis Foster because for the second time this year, he transferred into the top 12 as a rookie. And if we look at how he raced here last year in Indy Next, he didn't get any practice time, didn't get any qualifying time in Indy Next, started last and made his way up to 6th. If anyone knows how to pass here, it's Louis Foster. This is how the championship looks right now. Alex Palou with 2 wins and a 2nd, very much on top of the standings. But look behind him, Carl Kirkwood, Christian Lundgaard, Felix Rosenqvist, Scott Dixon, all of them with tricky qualifying sessions yesterday. Dixon in particular starting all the way down in 26th place.
And you look down at 8th and 10th, you've got McLaughlin and Newgarden, and you do not see their Team Penske teammate Will Power, but he qualified inside the Fast 6. He knows how to win here at Barber. This could be the day that turns around Team Penske's 2025 season. They're off to a great start.
It really could be. Welcome to Barber Motorsports Park. Welcome to your warm-up show. Welcome to, well, it's kind of a bridge, isn't it?
It's Georgina's bridge, I believe.
It's Georgina's bridge.
Unofficially named after last year's happenings.
Interloper.
Yeah, let's call it that.
And she's still hanging strong.
She is.
A year later.
She's back, and we're back here, back to Racing Ways. Guys, May the 4th be with you. Star Wars Day, which is always good. Are you Star Wars fans?
I was when I was 10.
We had a whole debate in the car on the way in. As you know, Jack Harvey is a huge Star Wars fan. He was very upset with the lack of Star Wars knowledge that Townsend had.
He was devastated.
Okay.
He said, I believe his quote was, "It hurts me to my core." That you didn't know whatever the specific question was. So he takes it very personal.
Jack, down in pit lane, May the 4th be with you, my friend.
And also with you. Yeah, it did hurt me to my core. Townsend, honestly, I was so sad and disappointed.
I can hit you with Dukes of Hazzard, Knight Rider, Airwolf,
Top
Street
Gun.
Hawk, all kinds of trivia from the mid-'80s and meet you halfway.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
Karate Kid. How do you feel about the Karate Kid?
That was a little late in that era, but I like the Karate Kid. Yeah. Cobra Kai.
Jack, you're down there at Arrow McLaren. Who are you looking out for today, man?
Honestly, all of their cars. I'm trying to think the last time I saw 3 all teammates, 3 cars starting next to each other. Managed to chat to Will Anderson, Pato's race engineer. They thought they actually had a nice recovery after that off that he had just before qualifying. Every warm-up always has a very similar procedure. You go out, you try and check tyre deg, you check fuel numbers. However, with a 2-stopper being an actual possibility today, they're taking this warm-up maybe a little bit more seriously than what they might do in other race weekends. So going to be looking out for the 5 and also going to be looking out for Scott Dixon. He feels like a car that is very out of place right now in his starting position.
Love that, mate. Thank you so much. The McLaren starting 6th, 7th and 8th. Top qualifier for McLaren. Nolan Siegel, let's talk about him. What a great qualifying run yesterday.
This is the kind of performance that we've been talking about Nolan Siegel needing. A pop, a wow moment to justify his position, frankly, on that 3-car McLaren team. For every young driver, I think we could all point to a moment in our careers where we did something that mattered, that made a real difference, something of substance that kind of cemented ourselves in IndyCar. Maybe that's Nolan Siegel's performance this weekend. I was really impressed when you watch his onboard. He was hustling the car in a way that he showed at St. Pete. Now he's got to convert. Got to deliver the result today on a very physically demanding track. He's not the biggest guy in the field. It's going to be tough for him today to hang on.
Especially if they go with a 3-stop strategy. That's more flat-out running versus a 2-stop. But you got to remember, look, this is his 4th race here with McLaren this season. Yes, he did some IndyCar racing last year, but he didn't get to prepare for his IndyCar debut the way he would have liked. He was doing next, got thrown in mid-season. This is really the start. This is the reset. And like you say, 4th race to be out qualifying his teammates, that's huge.
None of us got a chance chance to prepare, though. We were all thrown in the deep end when we got our chance to do this. It's that kind of sport. You have to land on the tip of the needle early in your career, or else the questions start to develop and the team owners start to think about what's next. You know, is this the right guy for us next season? And Nolan Siegel's delivering at just the right time.
Well, particularly at McLaren, we've seen them go through so many drivers over the last couple of seasons. Guys, listen, you've been talking about 2 stops, 3 stops. Obviously, if you're starting at the front, you want to try and make it a 2-stop race if you can. At what point does it flip to a 3? And which is the preferential strategy to be on?
Well, I think the 3-stoppers, at least those that think they're going to 3-stop today, will be watching the leader's pace. That's typically what you do. It gives you a chance to maybe bail out on your 3-stop strategy early if you think they're going to make it happen. Conversely, for the 2-stoppers that at least think they start the race with that mentality, they'll be watching the leader's pace as well and then make their decisions. So a lot of it comes off of feel, and this warm-up session tells you so much on how the tires to degrade. You got to go 30 laps, let's face it, on either the blacks or the reds to make a 2-stop work.
It's fuel, it's tires. You got to manage both those things. But to answer your question, which one do you want to be on? As a driver, you want to be on the 3-stop because you want to be pushing. You want to be 10-10s, hustling an IndyCar around Barber, not driving around, lifting and coasting, saving fuel.
90 laps around Barber Motorsport Park today, 17 corners. More, actually, if you really think about it. Guys, take us around this beautiful roller coaster of a circuit.
Well, this place, I think, unique in terms of the races we've had this season because of corner speed. This place has some high load, high G-force corners, and then heavy brake zone downhill here to turn 5. This is drama zone. This is where a lot of the contact can happen on starts and restarts. And then, James, it takes you to the museum complex, truly unique on our schedule.
It's almost like the corkscrew of Alabama down here through 8 and 9, past the museum where we are. This back straight section, flat out through the 10-11 chicane. This is where you're going to hit your top speed into 12, 173 miles an hour. But what's so impressive for me, turn 12, minimum speed, $164. You're barely scraping off any speed as you go through that left-right combination. My favorite one on the whole calendar.
And then you get this triple apex right-hander. Joseph Newgarden, very good at sneaking a move in that corner through the years. And then the final left-hander completes the 17 turns, takes you back to the short front straightaway.
Lovely stuff. We are under a bit of a hold here before cars roll out. So while they're sitting in pit lane, we'll go away for a couple of moments and return here to Barber Motorsport Park, home of the incredible Vintage Museum.
Yeah, absolutely. Barber Motorsports Park in a little bit of a hold here for the warm-up session. So it's time to do what I do best. Random fill here at Barber Motorsports Park. That's probably why Indy Radio hasn't started yet, because we're in a hold as well. But Scott McLaughlin, keeping an eye on him. He starts second on row 1. And he's won this race 2 times in 2023 and 2024. He started last year first. He finished this race first. But in 2023, started this race in 4th, finished in 1st. He's never won this race from 2nd place before, though. But of course, we had Patrick Ward winning this race in 2022 and Alex Palou winning this race in 2021. No race in 2020 due to COVID. 2019 was won by Joseph. It doesn't actually say here who won in 2019, so let me just go into the IndyCar archive and get that for you. Takuma Sato won that one. That's why it's not on this one, as he's not a current driver in this Well, he's not entered into this race. That's why it's not on here. 2018 was won by Joseph Newgarden from pole, and 2017 was won by Joseph Newgarden from 7th place, with 2016 won by Simon Pagenaud. 2015, this race was won by Will Power, and I've seen the timing screens light up, so let's return back to Fox.
But to move away from a name conversation and to more insightful conversation, Mike Zhang's here with us. How are you, chap?
I'm great, man. Great to be here. Good to see you guys this year. Love being at this place.
It's beautiful.
It is. It's stunning. It just reminds me of an Augusta, I guess. I keep hearing that, and it's truly just walking out here to this stage and stuff, just the detail in the landscaping is really impressive, and we're happy to be here, obviously.
Good stuff, man.
We talk about cubic dollars in racing, certainly cubic dollars in track build here, no doubt, to produce this place. But cubic dollars on your race team, too. You told me a few years ago, hey, we have the resources to go compete now week in and week out. It seems like in this 2025 season, so far, you're in the hunt everywhere, every session. Is there anything different about this season over last that's delivered that?
We've had, it's funny. We got, I don't know, lucky, skill to win the Indy 500 right away. And then that's been kind of a curse a little bit in some performance. We had a really tough 2023. We got better in 24, and now we're a step again better. It's just the constant work and pressure on myself, on the team, on the drivers, everything, on our technical arrangement, which we can talk about a little bit. It's been great so far this year. We're kind of schmedium this weekend, but not bad. So I look forward to seeing what happens in the race here today.
So, Mike, you talk about that technical partnership, so let's get into it.
Yeah.
A few years, you had that alliance with Andretti Global. You switched over to Ganassi now. What's been the biggest difference for you, and what are your drivers telling you is the biggest difference in that relationship change?
Great question. So the one thing I can tell you is Andretti was a great 5 years. We won the Indy 500. We had our first pole with them ever. And there's a lot of great stuff out of that. Switching over with Chip now, it's been great. It's a different, it's funny. We have a spec car. It's supposed to be a spec car, but you cannot believe how differently they're built. Team to team, right? We do what we do, and then we take bits of the people that we're with. It's almost like the perfect world. But we always try to want to technically be as close to their car build as our car build, just so we can compare, right? But I can tell you there's a reason Chip has won, was the 16 championships. They really they're very simplistic, very smart, very simplistic, do not overcomplicate anything. And, the other day we had a rain session. Alex Palou went out in the rain. He did one thing. He went like this with the front wing. Not springs, not camber, not right. He just went, boom.
And he was super quick. Yeah, he was quick by a mile.
So my point is the simplistic part of it is what kind of gets them where they're at today, I think.
What's going to happen, though, if you guys get ahead of all three Ganassi drivers in the championship? It's not happened yet. Palou's off to a pretty good start. What's that dynamic going to be like if you guys are routinely ahead of Chip?
I don't know that for sure, but I can tell you this. Chip and I talk every week. When we had a run there, early on when we out-qualified him a time or two, he texts me right away. My call, Taylor, all those guys are just so good to deal with. They're happy for us, I think.
Obviously, you can have the car, but you need the drivers to deliver on race day and throughout the weekend. How impressed are you with both of the guys in your cars? We've been incredibly impressed with both of them, and speaking to them, they feel like podiums, like wins are not far away.
Well, let's talk about Felix first. We brought Felix in because I felt after 23, I just needed someone really fast. There was some question about his raceability and things why he got let go from McLaren, but from what I needed just a freaking fast guy, and he is that, right? And by the way, in 2024, we qualified, if you count the ovals, between two cars, we qualified in the top 6 15 times, up from 0 in 23. Okay, so it was a big gain in speed, and Sundays were a little tough, although they got better towards the end of 24. So this year the focus has been on today, Sunday.
It feels like a red race coming today, especially with some cloud cover. Perfect conditions right now. Perfect. Ambient, it's go fast time. Felix Rosenqvist might not have qualified where you wanted him to, but he's got, 3 sets of sticker reds to run in the race.
He does.
That could be perfect for you guys.
The problem we're having with Felix right now is the black tire, the car wasn't happy at thermal on blacks, and it's not happy here on black tires. So fortunately, we're going to get him on and off of them as quick as we can. Conversely, the 66 car is fine on blacks. So we got some tuning to do. We just need them in the top 8. If I can get both those boys in the top 8 before the end of the day, we're pretty happy.
So, Mike, you talk about as a team, you found that kind of Saturday pace in 24, 25. The focus is the Sunday pace, today's pace. From a team owner's perspective, what do you tell the crew, and what are they actually focusing on? What are they doing in the offseason to try to improve Sunday?
It's a great point. It's all execution. Jim Meyer and I talk about this all the time. What do we need? Are we missing something? But honestly, it's execution. It's putting all the pit stops together, putting the preparation together. You know, we had a problem with a nitrogen bottle for Marcus at Long Beach. Those little details will derail the whole thing, and we can't have that. It's on our side. We got to be better at that. So we'll work on it.
Elio Castroneves, month of May, it comes as a package. What did you see at the open test with him? What can we expect from Elio as he fights for 5 once again?
I got to tell you, on the second day we had dinner, he got into the wine a little bit, and he is so happy right now. Like, if you watched him in that last run, I think you guys were commenting, I was watching the same thing. He was playing around with some very fast people. He could move up, he could drift back, but the most important thing is he could run on their bumper, which we all know what that means at the end of the
How much has he helped the young guys, Armstrong and Rosenquist, in terms of just understanding where to have the balance of your car and the controls for that final step?
He's actually very helpful. I mean, he really is, and he's glad to help, and especially with Marcus, who's still, he had a lot of speed, but where is he at in traffic in the line? He's a little, maybe a little hesitant, and Elio helps him with that, and Elio's happy to help him with that.
Talk to me about your partnership with SiriusXM. We know you bring a lot of bands to the track.
Yeah.
It seems like they're really part of the team.
We have a great relationship with SiriusXM. We have a great announcement coming up for the Indianapolis 500.
Let's do it right here.
I can't do it right here, but I can tell you it's right up my alley.
Okay.
I cannot wait. That part's good. We're going to have some more collaborations throughout the year. We got into these artist collaborations last year. It actually started 2 years ago with Carrie Underwood. She came out. She was a great participant. Last year we had John Bon Jovi, Diplo, Eric Church. We've had a lot of great. It's just how we fold everything together. Obviously, they're a great partner with INDYCAR, with SiriusXM INDYCAR racing on Sirius. So we're really proud to kind of keep that going and keep building on that momentum we have with them.
Sensational stuff. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Love it.
Good luck
Anytime.
today. Good luck for the month of May. Of course, as you guys have been discussing, the Indy 500 coming up in just a couple of weeks' time. The greatest spectacle in racing. Can Elio make it 5?
Yeah, absolutely. As we are 17 minutes 28 seconds left of this warm-up session with Christian Lundgaard currently your fastest car, with Alexander Rossi, Patrick Ward, Nolan Siegel, Stingray, Rob your top 5, Scott Dixon just outside of that top 5. Devlin D. Francesco currently in the pit lane is 7th, then Venus VK, Connor Daly, Scott McLaughlin, who is looking to make it 3 on the bounce here at Barber Motorsports Park. He is currently 11th. It's Marcus Armstrong, Jacob Abel as a couple of cars go faster, so the order gets jumbled up. But Scott McLaughlin now goes up to 6th with a personal best 109.644. Callum Eilert has just done our personal best. He has moved up the field to 12th for 110.109. 16.5 minutes left in this final warm-up session for INDYCAR here at the Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix at Barber Motorsports Park. And we'll be getting ready momentarily to return back to the World Feed and Fox Sports with Will Buxton leading the coverage. But here comes all the fastest lap times. Carl Kirkwood, Colton Herter, Alex Blow, Christian Rasmussen, all setting personal bests. Graham Rahal in 10th, just set a new personal best of a 109.695. And Louis Foster has just also done a personal best for 114.229. That is around 6 seconds slower, so he is just getting laps under his belt, just sorting stuff out with the car. As Robert Schwartzman enters the pit lane with Callum Eilert once again doing a personal best. That's put him up to 9th. Let's get ready to go back to Fox for the Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix warm-up session here at Barber Motorsports Park.
Scotty Mack, Scott McLaughlin.
Jack Harvey.
How many nicknames you got?
I got a few nicknames, I guess. Scotty, Smack.
Smack.
Yes.
You know my favourite one for you now?
What's that?
Dad.
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 There we go. Yeah. Being a dad, it's just brought me down to a different part of the world, you know. I just feel like I'm a lot more chill, and I treasure the love now that I have for those two. And Carly's a superstar. I'm genuinely just like a dad at home, and then when I come to the track, I'm ready to go.
Come to a race, you're a race car driver.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're at Barber Motorsports Park.
Yep.
One of your best tracks. You're just good here.
I love this place, I really do. I always have. Just like the flowing and how fast you have to enter some corners, and you've got to give up one spot to be faster than another, and then you've just got to drive it and figure it out. And I really enjoy sort of hustling it a little bit.
You have an admirer at this place.
Really? Who's
I'd like you
this?
to open it and read it.
Okay. Oh,
It's your lady.
Georgina.
Yes.
This is, Scott, it's been a whole lap around the sun without you, and I'm still stuck in the pits, missing you like crazy. I catch myself replaying old memories like race highlights just to feel close to you again. When people say I'm falling for you, I take it way too literally.
She wanted us to give you that.
Yeah.
Scott McLaughlin going for 3 in a row around this Barber Motorsports Park. Christian Lundgaard currently the fastest driver in the warm-up from Alex Palou, Joseph Newgarden. Rinus VeeKay, we haven't mentioned him yet. Got into the fast 6. He loves this place.
Having a brilliant weekend. Dale Coyne Racing, one of the smallest teams in the paddock, but VeeKay always strong here and really surprising with that fast 6 qualifying spot, as we understand that Christian Rasmussen might have had a moment. Let's take a look.
So that's coming down that museum section there through turn 9 on the power. Does he just drop a wheel on exit there?
Ooh.
Yeah. And the curb's still wet. You see the spray that comes up and gets on the camera. That's from all that rain that we've had Friday and Saturday.
Was that Rinus VeeKay right behind him? Man, that was super close.
It was very close, but that's the kind of thing you're going to see in the race. You're pushing, tires are starting to go in dirty air, and you can drop a wheel. The racetrack is dry, but it's hard to remember sometimes from inside the cockpit that some of those curves and the grass still wet.
That could have very easily been a day ender right there for Christian Rasmussen. Lucky to have it spin just as he's going uphill straight. Did a good job to keep it off the wall, but this place can be very unforgiving in a lot of spots.
Yeah, as you say, it's still wet. I didn't realize how wet it was. I just went and leant on the on the railing, on the side, on the railings, and it's still soaking wet. Guys, I want to take you quickly. I want to show, because this is my first time here, right? So I've never been here. I'm stunned with like the undulation of this place. It kind of reminds me a bit of Brands Hatch, a bit of Mugello, a bit of Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. Like they all got together and had a beautiful American baby. Take a look. It's start-finish line coming down here, and then the drop down the hill, rising back up again, and then sweeping back down the hill again. This is the most wonderful vantage point to show you, really, the blind rise over the crest, the drop down into 5, and we lose them then behind that scoring board before the run back up here. Georgina's hanging out under the bridge here, and then come and take a look just where Rasmussen lost it earlier. Hello guys. Through here, the commitment that you need coming through here, it's blind. You've got to pick your turn-in point perfectly without being able to see really where you're going, and then dropping down the hill into the right, left, right, little lock up there from one of the McLarens before blasting back to where Christian lost it. This is the most wonderful place to watch race cars from, and guys, I don't know if you heard any of that. I've just been enjoying the circuit. It is such a roller coaster here.
That's a great word for it. I mean, the elevation change, I think we said 71 feet from the highest point to the lowest, but the number of times you go up and down, you kind of start high on the front straight, dip down in turn 1, climb back up in 2, back down in 3, back up in 4, back down in 5. It never stops.
And for me, it's the commitment that this place requires to get the lap time. We heard from Felix Rosenquist on Friday when he took us around that oftentimes he'll do his first couple laps in practice and be 5 seconds off, and it's sort of a smack to the face, like, wake up and get after it, because this place does not reward conservatism.
No.
You have to send it. You've got to push. You have to take chances to even hope to have a chance to factor into the top 10 here. I love that about a racetrack. Reminds me a lot of Road America.
Yeah, no, it's got one of those classic road course feels to it as we have eyes on your pole sitter and your fastest in the session so far, Alex Palou. He's out there on those soft compound Firestone red tires, and that's what this session's all about. This is about getting a good read on your car balance, on the softs, on the hard tire as well, getting a little bit of a sense for the fuel mileage.
I'm just laughing because Palou did this in the wet. He was 6 or 7 tenths faster in practice than anybody, and now he's 6 tenths clear of Christian Lundgaard.
Wow.
I know this is warm-up, and there's 10 minutes remaining, but Palou has done this all season long, showing not only that he's the championship favorite, he's the fast lap favorite now in any session.
And it's funny, you talk about, you know, being good on a Sunday, being good in race trim. That's what the cars are doing right now. This guy right here, Graham Rahal, third on the charts right now. And every week, we have this conversation about how it's Saturday struggles, but it's Sunday victory, not victories, but Sunday, you know, improvements from Graham Rahal. So good at just pulling a result out of thin air.
And has had some great runs right here at Barber.
Yeah.
He has factored several times into the mix in the final stint, so it could be a day for him. How about this guy, Kevin Simpson, with a great qualifying result?
Phenomenal. Coming off the back of that great result in Long Beach, fast slapped the race into the top 10, made it through into the top 12 in qualifying. I thought it was a great run from him yesterday. Super impressive.
Like Nolan Siegel, Kevin Simpson needs to convert. Got to take a great qualifying and produce a result. So Siegel and Simpson, two guys in the top 10 I'm going to be watching today to see if they can deliver with their teams.
One of the things on the A car is they did actually have an issue with the car. I think Jack knows a little bit more about it.
They've been struggling with this all weekend. They've been having some spark plug issues, which I think is a kind of a random thing. However, this engine had to get changed. They knew it was coming. They were going to hopefully get through this weekend, but they've had to bring it forward for the race. They did the install, didn't seem to have any problems. So the 8 are feeling confident they're going to have a great day.
Thank you, Jack.
Pato Award there popping up now with Christian Lundgaard as teammate. So Aaron McLaren showing good qualifying pace as we ride on board thanks to Aero with Pato, another guy that has won here. He'll be aggressive today, I think. And I think what we've talked about with Pato Award that's really defined this season is not overdoing it, taking what he's given, not forcing situations. Pato Award's done a really good job on race day this year, despite having some poor qualifying performances. He's delivered.
Yeah, he really has, and that's that championship mentality, right? That's the kind of thing you need. Damage limitation on those days where qualifying didn't go well. You're starting a bit further back, and he came out of the gates kicking on that with.
In the headlines for the wrong reasons, but for different reasons this year. Their qualifying form has not been great. Their consistency has been all over the place. What a retort yesterday, though, to get all 3 cars as high as they did, to be up there on the front row and the second row with Will Power and with Scott McLaughlin. What have they got to do to turn their season around now?
Listen, statistically impossible for Team Penske to go too long without performing at the highest level. And think about where we are right now. We're at Barber, a track where they've dominated through the years, and this weekend all 3 of their drivers look to be in the hunt, no doubt. Then we go to the Indy GP next weekend at the greatest spectacle in racing, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Penske's going to be strong. You know, at the GP they're going to get it done, and then we came off an open test preparing for the Indy 500 where Team Penske looked to be excellent with all 3 drivers again So I feel like month of May could be month of Penske very easily. It could start right here today. They're in good shape.
They are in good shape, but you still have to execute. I mean, you still have this nagging little thing called Alex Palou that is also very good at Barber, is also very good at the Indy GP, and is also probably the strongest car that I saw at that open test.
Interesting.
Being second, being third, being fourth, it doesn't matter. That's not what Team Penske's here to do. You've got to beat Palou, and that's going to be hard.
So it's a great question, I think, to discuss is what does everybody else do when Alex Palou is around today? When you have a chance to get an elbow out, when you have a chance to run him a little bit wide, when you have a chance to mess with him on pit lane, I think you've got to start to take those chops at these guys, because if you just...
Have you met Palou?
Yes.
He doesn't care, man.
He doesn't
it's
care.
It's not going to work.
But
somebody
thinking about
needs
the
to
title.
start mixing it up with him.
Palou's already thinking about the title. So if you're going to go wheel to wheel with him, you're going to get your elbows out. Is he going to back out of those fights?
But he's going to be smart.
He's a high percentage move guy. He won the race in St. Pete from 8th on the grid. He didn't pass a single car on the racetrack. He didn't have to. He is calculated. He is cold. He knows how to get it done. When was the last time we saw Palou get hit with an avoidable contact penalty?
Yeah, fair.
Oh, on him?
On him.
Oh, never. Yeah.
He is so calculated in the risk that he takes. That's not saying he's just going to lay down and let people walk
My point is, when is the last time we've seen Palou get hit and the other driver get an avoidable contact penalty?
He doesn't put himself in those positions. He's so Scott Dixon. Well, it's unbelievable.
He thinks this thing is over. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful someone's going to mix it up.
It's over. I'm saying you're not going to do it by getting into his head on pit lane.
Fair enough.
Scott Dixon, talking about Scott Dixon, up to P3 on the timing charts. We ride on board with him right now. Tough day in store for him, coming from the back of the field. P26 starting place.
But this is the kind of guy that's pulled off wins from last place at Mid-Ohio, where you also say you can't pass. If there's a driver that knows how to pull a miracle out of a result like that in qualifying, if there's a team that knows how to do it, if there's a combo that knows how to do it, it's Dixon and Ganassi.
And there is every chance that we get a yellow today.
I mean, you say that we're 0 for 2 in the last 2 rounds.
Exactly.
Well, let's take a look at how Scott Dixon started at the back as he goes side by side there down in turn 5. But in qualifying, it was a small mistake that got Scott Dixon onto the grass and ran him wide. Excuse me, I guess we don't have that ready just yet. But it was right here in this complex. Dixon got crossed up, had to go to the grass, and did not get a quick lap in.
If we get a yellow, how does that flip things on its head? How can it affect things here in terms of the race strategy, going from a 2 to a 3?
And this was the moment yesterday in qualifying. We'll just take a look here as he gets crossed up and wide. You know, the yellow can completely ruin the 2-stop strategy or the 3-stop strategy, depending on when it falls. And James, you just said it. Scott Dixon needs a curveball to come to this race to do what they do best, which is out-strategize the rest of the field.
Off the top, he's going to have to do something different. He cannot do the same thing as the leaders, because from where he's starting, he will get beat. So that team's already thinking outside the box. And then, yes, it is going to take a stroke of luck. It is going to take a well-timed yellow that either helps his strategy or hurts the others. But it's not impossible here.
One other question I've got, in having watched back a number of recent races here, is sometimes the start gets called off. How likely is that? I know you met with Carl Novak earlier in the weekend. What's the advice been to the drivers over there?
So there was a suggestion given by one of the drivers last year when this was a kind of recurring issue. Some of the starts were a little bit messy. And that was to, on the final lap, normally it's 2 parade laps, 1 pace lap, so third time by they'll go green. On that third lap is actually get the pace car driver to really back up his pace or her pace and let the field properly bunch up. Before there was too much gap, they were leaving it in the pole sitter's hands too much, and you can't leave that in a race car driver's hands. That's never going to work well. So that's been very effective. Kyle Novak saying they've had almost no problems since that procedure was installed. I think it's not going to be an issue here. Oriol Servia in that Honda pace car, they'll back everybody up, and they'll have a nice clean run through turn 17.
And at the races we've had so far this season, you've been able to pass from the alternate line. Here,
the restart line.
So what's the rule here?
So there's the restart. So on the start, it's fair game. On restarts, there's a line that's essentially through the apex of turn 17, because what we were seeing in some restarts in the past is drivers diving on the inside of 17 before they even get to the front straight. So just past where we're looking here through turn 17. There's a line that is the restart line. After that point, it's fair game.
So that's on the restart.
Yeah.
The race start itself is from...
You go at green.
So on the start-finish straight,
The only exception
from
being Long Beach because of the hairpin. So here you can go.
You can just go.
As soon as they call green, you can race.
Cool.
But because you're side by side through 17 anyway.
And one of the reasons that things get a little messy is that when you go to grid up too wide at the last second, everybody waits till the last second because they don't want to get offline. You don't want to get dirt on your tires and be compromised, so everybody tends to wait till the last second, and there's an accordion effect. That's why if Serbia can whoa up the pace car and get everybody forced into gridding up a little bit earlier, it should help. We'll see what happens.
Let's look at the times here. One of the guys we haven't talked a lot about yet this morning is Colton Herta. He was the best Andretti Global car. We talked how those guys didn't come and test, got it into the Firestone Fast 6. His first time in the Fast 6 here, looking for a strong result. This guy's been super consistent on Saturdays so far this year. He's kind of been let down on the team side, on the strategy side on Sundays, but he is performing very, very highly.
But I'll tell you where the team delivers is on Fridays and Saturdays, because I've been watching Colton Herta right past our cameras here rifle into the museum corner, and his car, to me, rides the curb better than anybody. That's no surprise based on how well those cars have ridden the curbs and the bumps, I should say, on the street circuits this year. They've been super strong at St. Pete and Long Beach. Let's take a look at what happened to Rinus VeeKay just now.
So this is down here,
Little deep
turn
at one. Ooh, little dig into the grass.
Little dig, but salvageable. It's great that there's that paved bit outside of the curbing there, because it is so easy. You're flowing through there. I think we saw on that graphic 130, 134 miles an hour minimum speed in turn 1.
6 seconds left. Let's just talk tires, James. Everybody right now in the top 8 on our screen here running the soft compound tire. This almost certainly looks to be a red race today. Should be fascinating to watch it play out.
And we talked about it before, the drivers that have more new sets definitely are going to have an advantage. The set of reds that everybody will be running today were from their Friday practice, so they were used. They'll get a really good sense of how good the used tires are, but new is always going to win.
Beautiful stuff. Well, it's Alex Palou fastest. The pole sitter back on P1. Pato Award P2. And it's Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you.
Join the millions.
Checkered flag is out on this session, and it is Alex Palou fastest, Patro Ward, Colton Herta, Scott Dixon, Scott McLaughlin, your top 5. Then it's Callum Ilott, Connor Daly, Felix Rose and Costantino Ferrucci. Joseph Newgarden rounds out your top 10. Then it's Marcus Armstrong, Christian Lundgaard, Will Power, Graham Rahal, Kevin Simpson in 15th. Then it's Carl Kirkwood, David Malukas, Nolan Siegel, Rinus VeeKay, Stingray Robb rounds out the top 20. Then it is 21st, Jacob Abel, 22nd, Alexander Rossi, Devlin Di Francesco in 23rd, with Christian Rasmussen in 24th, Louis Foster in 25th, and Marcus Ericsson in 26th, with Robert Schwartzman rounding out the field in 27th place. Make sure to join us later on today with the broadcast starting at 6:30 p.m. British Summer Time, with the green flag dropping at 18:47 British Summer Time. But before that, you can join us for F1 Academy Race 2 at Miami. That is on air from 6 p.m. as well. But if you're a NASCAR fan, you can have them side by side, NASCAR, INDYCAR and F1, because NASCAR screen flag is at 8:30 p.m. with an on-air at 8 p.m, between 8 p.m. and 8:15. But the Formula 1 Miami Grand Prix on-air 8:15 p.m. British Summer Time. Formation lap at 9 p.m. British Summer Time. Make sure to join us for the INDYCAR Children's of Alabama Grand Prix. The broadcast gets underway at 6:30 p.m. British Summer Time. See you then.